In a world that often celebrates the bravery of men and women in uniform, there lies a hidden narrative that many overlook. The journey from uniform to the streets is a harsh transition that numerous veterans face each day. It's a journey that begins with the pride of serving one's country, the camaraderie of shared experiences, and the sense of purpose that comes with defending freedom and rights. Yet, for too many, this journey takes a sharp turn, leading them not to a warm homecoming, but to the cold, unforgiving streets. Now, imagine these men and women, once respected soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, now struggling to survive each day, battling not just the elements, but also the internal wars of trauma, loss, and the often deafening silence of civilian life. These are our nation's veterans, who once stood tall in their uniforms, now often overlooked in their civilian clothing, their battles invisible to the untrained eye. These valiant individuals who once marched in unison, who faced danger with courage, who put their lives on the line for our safety, now find themselves fighting a different kind of war. A war against homelessness, against hunger, against societal indifference. It's a stark contrast, isn't it? From the military's structured environment to the chaotic uncertainty of life on the streets, from the honor of service to the struggle of survival, from being a part of something bigger than oneself to feeling invisible, forgotten. The reality is, these men and women are not just statistics or faceless figures huddled in doorways. They are individuals who once answered the call of duty, who served with honor, who risked everything for their country. They are veterans who deserve our respect, our compassion, our help. The reality of the situation is disheartening, but it is the first step to understanding the problem and finding a solution. Because recognizing this issue is not just about seeing the problem, it's about acknowledging their service, their sacrifice, and their ongoing struggle. It's about seeing the hero behind the hardship, the soldier behind the civilian, the person behind the problem. The reality of the situation is disheartening, but it is the first step to understanding the problem and finding a solution. The problem of homelessness among veterans is not a simple issue. It is a complex web of factors intertwining. Left unchecked, these factors can lead to a tragic outcome, a brave serviceman or woman without a roof over their head. To truly comprehend this issue, we must first understand the common culprits behind veteran homelessness. One of the key factors is the lack of affordable housing. Many veterans, especially those in high-cost urban areas, find it challenging to secure a home within their budget. The rising cost of living, coupled with stagnant wages, often pushes these heroes to the brink of homelessness. Another significant factor is inadequate health care. Many veterans return home bearing not just the physical scars of service, but also deep psychological wounds. Post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and traumatic brain injuries are all too common among our servicemen and women. Without proper support and treatment, these invisible wounds can lead to substance abuse, unemployment, and ultimately, homelessness. Lastly, the transition from military to civilian life is rarely smooth. The skills and experiences that serve them well on the battlefield do not always translate into the civilian job market. Veterans often struggle to find meaningful employment that can sustain them and their families. Now, let's look at the scale of the problem. On any given night, tens of thousands of veterans sleep on the streets, in shelters, or in their vehicles. This is not just a problem, it's a crisis. And it's a crisis that's happening in our own backyard. Every single one of these individuals was willing to give everything for our country, and they deserve better than this. The numbers are staggering, and behind each statistic is a person who once bravely served our nation. It's time we recognize this issue for what it is, a national disgrace, but more than that, it's an opportunity for us to step up and give back to those who have given so much. Let's unmask the reality of homeless veterans and work towards a future where no veteran has to sleep on the streets. Transitioning from military to civilian life is a battle of its own. It's like learning to dance to a completely different rhythm, a rhythm that lacks the structure and discipline inherent in military life. Navigating through this change, veterans often find themselves in uncharted territory, facing challenges that they might not have anticipated. One of the most significant struggles during this transition is the loss of identity. As a service member, your role is clearly defined, your purpose unmistakable. You are a part of something larger than yourself, serving your nation, protecting your fellow citizens. But upon leaving the military, this identity, this sense of purpose can often feel diminished, lost in the hustle and bustle of civilian life. Then there's the shift from a structured environment to one that, compared to military life, can seem almost chaotic. The military provides a framework, a set of rules to live by. But in the civilian world, veterans must create their own structure, their own rules. This can be disorienting, even overwhelming for some. Couple these challenges with mental health issues like post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety and depression, and the path to homelessness becomes a slippery slope. Without proper support and resources, something as fundamental as securing stable housing can become an insurmountable challenge. And let's not forget about the lack of understanding and empathy from society at large. Many civilians struggle to comprehend the experiences and challenges of veterans, creating a gap that can isolate veterans, pushing them further towards the edges of society. But the crux of the matter is this: veterans, these brave men and women, didn't sign up to fight one battle. They signed up to protect and serve, to fight whatever battles came their way. They've proven their resilience, their strength, their adaptability time and time again. The battle doesn't end when they hang up their uniform, it merely changes shape. And it's our responsibility, as a society, to ensure they're not fighting this battle alone. Veteran homelessness is not just a government issue, it is a community issue. We often see homelessness as a monumental problem that only large institutions can tackle. But in reality, each one of us, as part of our local communities, can play a pivotal role in combating veteran homelessness. Communities across the country are stepping up, proving that every town, every city, can be a part of the solution. Let's highlight a few examples. In a small town in the heartland, a community group transformed an old school into a transitional housing unit for veterans. In a bustling city on the coast, a local nonprofit organized a job fair, specifically tailored to the skill sets of veterans. In a suburban neighborhood, a group of compassionate citizens established a mentorship program, pairing veterans with mentors who could guide them through the complexities of civilian life. These initiatives are not grand, government-funded programs. Instead, they're grassroots efforts, born out of a deep-seated respect and gratitude for those who've served our nation. But it's not just about providing a roof over their heads or a job to pay the bills. It's about creating a sense of belonging, a community where veterans feel valued and supported. Such initiatives have a ripple effect, not just on the veterans they directly help, but also on the community as a whole. They foster a sense of unity, a shared purpose, and a collective empathy. They remind us that we, as a community, can make a difference. But how can we replicate these efforts in our own communities? It all starts with awareness. By understanding the unique challenges faced by homeless veterans, we can tailor our community efforts to meet their specific needs. We can volunteer our time, our skills, our resources. We can advocate for policies that support homeless veterans. We can reach out to local organizations offering our help in their initiatives. Remember, every gesture, no matter how small, can make a big difference. Every community has the potential to be a part of the solution. Change starts with a single step, and that step can be taken by anyone. We've explored the journey from uniform to the streets, unmasked the reality of veteran homelessness, discussed the struggle of transition, and delved into community responses. Now, let's talk about how you can make a difference. Volunteering your time can have an enormous impact. Local shelters and organizations that serve homeless veterans are always in need of a helping hand. Whether it's serving meals, organizing fundraisers, or simply lending an ear to a veteran who needs to talk, there are countless opportunities to give back. Donating is another powerful way to help. Many of these organizations depend on donations to keep their doors open. You might be wondering, what exactly should I donate? Well, everything from clothing and toiletries to non-perishable food items and monetary contributions can go a long way. If you have a skill, like resume writing or job interview coaching, you can donate that too. Another method is through advocacy. Advocacy can take many forms, from rallying for policy changes that support veterans, to raising awareness about the issue of veteran homelessness in your community. It could be something as simple as sharing a social media post, or starting a conversation with your friends and family. A lesser-known but equally important way to help is through employment opportunities. If you're a business owner or have influence in your workplace, consider hiring veterans. They bring a wealth of experience and skills that can benefit any business. Lastly, but certainly not least, is the power of compassion and understanding. Homeless veterans, like all people experiencing homelessness, are often stigmatized and misunderstood. By approaching them with kindness, empathy, and respect, you can help to break down these barriers and remind them of their inherent worth and dignity. Remember, no act is too small when it comes to making a difference. Whether you choose to volunteer, donate, advocate, employ, or simply show kindness, you are playing a vital role in the fight against veteran homelessness. Together, we can ensure that those who have served our country are given the respect and support they deserve.